Hello, everybody. It's Final Rich here. Vinyl Finds 99. I voted. I just went to a record store earlier today. If I'm able to edit it all in, you've already seen the footage. If I wasn't able to edit it in, all well. It was in Uptown Whittier on Greenleaf off of Whittier Boulevard. Lovell Records. I picked up 4 things there. First one here is Davy Allen and the Arrows. It's a 12-inch single, I guess you call it. Now, if I would have known this, I probably wouldn't have got this. Side 1 is Stoked on Surf, but it's a melody of like 20 songs or something, you know. And I'm not really a big fan of that stuff. Pipeline, Penetration, Wipeout, Miserloo, Hawaii 5. I guess just clips all hooked together. Side 2 is Outer Surf. Hopefully that's a killer song. Davy Allen and the Arrows. The reason I picked this up, though, is because it's on What Records. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. What Records was a record label in L.A. that one of the only labels that released punk, early LA punk. This next one is Accused. What is it? The return of Martha Splatterhead. Fantastic album. Really fast, hardcore punk. I've heard people characterize these or label these guys as metal. I don't really consider them metal. They do have metal tinges, and maybe some of their later albums are 100% metal. All I know is when they toured with Circle Jerks. They played with GBH, and these are not metal bands. These are hardcore punk bands. But I've noticed a lot of bands that were considered punk or playing to punk crowds in the 80s people now are calling them heavy metal. And this is a great album, man. Salem Ground Zero showed his collection of Accused. And it got me interested. And I checked them out online. And I go, fuck, they're fantastic. I believe this is a reissue. And it's on Unrest Records. I hope that's coming out clearly. The third one I got, a little bit of a departure. Amy Winehouse, Back to Black, her second album. This is the first album that I ever heard. Amy Winehouse has Rehab on it. Very ironic. Too bad she didn't go to rehab. Too bad she didn't say no, no, no. I mean, she died of alcohol poisoning. I mean, how crazy is that? Great voice, great talent. It's a shame what happened to her. Her first album, Frank, is also a great album. I have it on CD. And then she has that one that came out after she died. And it has some good songs on it. And this is the label. Amy Winehouse. Very cool. And the last thing I got, probably the thing I'm most... Well, I don't know. I'm pretty excited about that Accused. But I got this box set, the Off. First 4 EPs. This, if that footage comes out, you'll see this on the wall. And they had a Dick Dale there on the wall. And I looked at that, but it was VG plus. That's the one thing about this record store, Lovell's. You do have to look at what, the record. So I mean, they do have some good stuff. It's a lot of common stuff. But I do go there because it is very close to my house. But it's not like Amoeba Records where... At Amoeba Records, all the used vinyl is in excellent shape. And if it's not, it's clearly labeled on the front. This has this and this and that. And that's the one thing I really love about Amoeba, buying used vinyl there. So this place you do got to look through. And a lot of times I don't have time. I just look through the new arrivals and what's on the wall. But anyways... This is Off, the box set, their first 4 EPs. Comes with this booklet. all the art is by Raymond Pettibon. The brother, oh, that's cool right there. I don't know if you can see that. Keith Morris, the vocalist from original singer for Black Flag, then Circle Jerks, now with Off. Also has Steve McDonald on bass from Red Cross, as you all know, one of my favorite bands. Pretty blurry live shot. But yeah, this is just very cool little booklet. Upside down. And it has the lyrics upside down. Very cool. And the singles. The backs look pretty much the same on all of these. But very nice. And the records are in great shape. I'll get there's a few little marks on a couple of these. But my Pink Pearl will take care of that. And that's what the label looks like. But yeah, very cool stuff there. Now, recently, Metal Theologian's been playing a lot of hippie shit, as he calls it. And he did make a video on Void Records. Void Records is a really cool label, it turns out. It's similar to Radio Raheem, which is one of my favorite record labels. Radio Raheem releases a lot of out-of-print stuff that was never released, punk stuff. And Void is a similar label, but they're releasing, it seems like late 60s, early 70s stuff. And I ordered two things from them. First one is the Tormentors, Hanging Around. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the pictures, but they got nooses around their neck. You know, they're hanging around. This was kind of listed as a garage. It's not really very garagey. It sounds like a garage band playing Hermits, maybe. You know, it's kind of beat music also, you know, that English. It's pretty cool stuff. I mean, I dig it. I've only listened to this one once. Really cool album cover. And the labels look like that with a little tiki head on the side. Now, the one that I like the best of the two is this one, Neutral Spirits. This is fantastic. Came out in 1972. Another garage band. It's got on some of the songs it's got really heavy fuzz, but not all of the songs. Some of the songs, they have that rhythm guitar that you hear with garage bands, that kind of really loud rhythm guitar. And the singing is really good on the first side, first two songs on side two. The third song on side two, though, is, I don't know if it's a different guy singing, but he's off key, you know, on parts. And kind of the same thing on the fourth song on side two, but not quite as extreme. But this is fantastic. The heavy fuzz songs are, man, I mean, it is heavy fuzz. And for 72, that's kind of unusual. But really, this one here I've played at least 6 times. And digging this one, man. And this one, very oddly, came on plain labels. It just says neutral on that side. I don't know if that's a test pressing, and maybe they don't have very many copies left. Void Records, I didn't mention. I think most of their runs are like 500. And some of their older ones that are out of print now, they kind of go for a bit of money. Now, I ordered the 2, and he sent this third one here, which is very cool. Earth Free. I've only sampled this one. This one sounds like a garage band America. It kind of sounds like an America, but not as polished. And I don't mean that in a bad way. If you only know the hits of America, you might think, nah, you know, considering the stuff that I normally listen to. But America's first album is fantastic. And even the Ventura Highway album is really good. But yeah, this is really cool. Good singing. It's a little bit mellower than the other two. And this also came out in 72. But yeah, very cool stuff, and I appreciate that. And got a big tiki on this side. Now, he sent me an email saying if I'm interested, he would make a deal with me on some further purchases. So I probably will order some more stuff from him. Now, these last three, or the three, I'm kind of showing these in the reverse order of what I got them. These last three I've probably had 2 weeks now. And the first one I'm going to show is the Plimsoll's first record, 0 Hour 12-inch. The Great Big World, 0 Hour on side A. Hypnotized, How Long Will It Take? And I Can't Turn You Loose on side B. Just a fantastic band. These guys were excellent in concert. They do have some live stuff, and I know Tim Allen has shown the live stuff, and I don't know how the quality is of that, but if the quality of that stuff is good, I mean, it would be worth picking up, because they were excellent live. A lot, I don't know if it's raw, but just more energy than their albums, in my opinion. But yeah, this was a really good band. This came out in 1980. I bought this when it first came out. A victim of my first marriage. We split our records. Beat Records, very cool. This next one here is the very last album released. Studio album by Muddy Waters. This was released shortly after his passing. It's Muddy Waters' King B. Johnny Winter is the producer of this, and he did not want this released. I guess he was not happy with it. Some of the tracks he considered weren't finished. I have not listened to this one yet, I must admit, even though I've had it for 2 weeks. I'll probably like it, though. I like a lot of, like, John Lennon's last album. It wasn't all the way finished. George Harrison's last album was like that. And I like those. You know, it's raw, and so I might like this. It might be a big turd, though. Who knows? And very cool inner sleeve, the original inner sleeve. I mean, that's a cool shot right there. Is this Muddy with all his kids, maybe? And it's on Blue Sky Records. That's the label he was on in the late 70s when he collaborated with Johnny Winter. Released 3 studio albums. That first one's fantastic, and a live one is fantastic also. And the last one I got here, very excited about this one, Muddy Waters, Muddy Brass and the Blues. This came out in 66, I believe. I had this when it came out. I had an original. I'm not sure what issue this is. This is what the label looks like. It's a mono. I think it's a pretty old press. But anyways, the very first I'm going to tell a little story. The very first Muddy Waters album I ever had was Electric Mud. I made a trade with my cousin Guy, and I dug that album. And there was a record store by Longfellow Elementary in Bakersfield on Bernard Avenue. It was a music store. It didn't sell records. It mostly sold like musical instruments, or if you were in band, you could rent instruments there. I think that's where I rented my clarinet. And I remember looking, they had like a little rack of records, and I remember they had 2 Muddy Waters ones. They had this one, and they had the folk singer one. And I ended up going back and picking them both up. And I didn't like this one because of the horns. And I didn't like the folk singer one at the time because it was too mellow. I mean, I was used to the Electric Mud one. So I don't know where those 2 albums are. I can't find them. I probably have a box of records out in the back somewhere. But they're both bought in probably 68-ish. So they're both 60 presses. And they both got to be in excellent shape because I didn't really play them that often. But I picked up another copy of this one, and it's in excellent shape. I would say the record cover is in VG++. It's got a little wear down here, but it's pretty nice shape, and the record is in excellent shape. And I dig it. I played it. I dig it. It's not his best album, but it's cool. And that's it. Take care, guys and gals. Get out and vote. See you later, everybody.